Hello everybody, this is M4 Airsoft King. Today I'm going to make a review video about my Traxxis / rear wheel drive. It's been 4 months, so I can make a better video unlike the one I had before. I didn't like it too much, so I deleted it yesterday. Opening the owner's manual here, it comes with some supplied tools and equipment. I don't feel like digging them out of the toolbox of mine, so I'm just going to read them off. You get one 2.5 millimeter Allen wrench, you get a 2 millimeter wrench, you get a 1.5 millimeter Allen wrench, you get a U-joint wrench, you get a turnbuckle wrench, you get a 4-way tire wrench, foam battery spacer, preload spacers and shock pistons, body clips and body washers, antenna nut, a 7-cell nickel metal 33,000 mile battery, a standard wall charger, which I wouldn't recommend, and a optional gear for lower speeds. You will be required for 4 AA batteries for the controller. Not only do you get a nice owner's manual, you get a nice parts breakdown of the front assembly, the rear assembly, the transmission, and everything like that, and also part numbers so you can order parts for it. Very detailed. Now moving down to the transmitter, it's a very good transmitter. It only takes 4 AA batteries, unlike some they take 8, and it's a lot of money. There's a standard power button, you turn it on, green light comes on. It does flash red when it's low. You got your steering trim here, your throttle, and your steering wheel. You also got a bind set button right here, which it already comes from the factory. This controller is great for the average backyard basher or racer. Now if you're taking your truck for drag racing on long strips, eventually it does glitch out and you have to run towards it to be back in range to have control over the vehicle. But other than that, unless you're drag racing, the controller works fine. So now on to the truck. 4 months ago I bought this truck and it still looks great. The tires are looking pretty good still. They do kind of slide. I'm going to be having to get some new ones. I'm thinking J-Concepts. Other than that, this truck still works and performs great. I bashed it very hard, very hard. I ramped it up tree, straight into a trash can at full speed, straight into a tree at full speed. I also took it in some water a few times, and the only thing I had go wrong on me is water. After about 2-3 months driving it sometimes in the water eventually broke the motor. I was out racing at a local track and the motor just took a crap. So whatever they say about these motors, they are breakable, and I'll show you later on in the review. Here's a little tech tip of mine. All the time when you're pulling these body pins off, the flat ones are kind of hard to grab. Take needle nose pliers and bend up the circle part up so that it's easy to grab. Earlier I was talking about how water got inside the motor. As you can see here, the motor's in the center of the shot and there's some holes here. There's about 3 holes this diameter on the motor. Now when the motor got wet, I did air hose it off with an air hose, but it eventually destroyed the motor when I was at the local track, and thank gosh I was only on a practice run. Don't worry though, because these motors are very cheap, only costing about 20 bucks to ship. I figured I'm going to jump to the transmission part of the review now that I'm back here talking about the motor. I'm going to go ahead and start talking about the transmission. Through this hole here you can adjust it with the tire wrench, so the slipper clutch. Slipper clutch helps out by giving you more bite or less bite out on the track or on your driveway when you're bashing. Now, good thing about this transmission, I had some good time testing it out, and it is really durable. I purposely rammed it in forward and rammed it in reverse multiple times, and I haven't had a strip yet. It makes a little clunky noise, but it still runs great. All I think that noise is it needs to be re-greased soon by me. All the Traxxis / shocks all the way around come factory with 30-weight shock oil. This shock weight oil is not significant enough in the rear, nor are these shocks. The shocks have plastic tops which can break, like what happened to me, and it totally came unscrewed when I was bashing. That's one thing I noticed, that the shock towers are weak, and not the shock towers, the shock caps are weak. If you have a Traxxis Slash and you want better rear shocks and not as much suspension travel in the rear, I would upgrade to big bore shocks, either the Traxxis ones or the Proline ones. I prefer you get the Proline ones, as they are much more cheaper, and you can go to eBay to get them and not be paying a pretty penny for them like some people at hobby shops do. Now moving on to the XL5 waterproof ESC. It is a very good ESC, no glitches or whatnot. I have had zero problems with this ESC. I've hosed it off with the hose, and it is true to its word, fully waterproof. As you can see right here, there's a metal nut. That antenna tool that I was talking about tightens this nut, because if you have this hole open right here, water can come down and all the way through and into your receiver box. Not only is water can leak into here and possibly damage your receiver. Now the receiver inside is an XL5 top qualifier, which performs well. Far distance away it does stop and kind of glitch out, but unless you're drag racing, this thing works great. Now on to the battery. With a stock battery, the run time would be about 20 minutes or less. Now with the 3300 mAh Turnigy 7.2 volt LiPo, runtime is up to 30 minutes or more. All you have to do, if you're running Deans like I am here, get a Deans adapter and plug it in and you're ready to go. One thing I did notice while we're talking about this adapter, over time after unplugging so many times, this adapter will come loose and unplug itself, stopping the car in middle of the drive, thinking that something is wrong. This happened to me several times, and all I did was I now fixed it by shoving it in between the battery tray bracket here and the little door for the wires for the receiver. This holds it in much better and does not have an issue anymore flying out and unplugging itself. Now moving forwards, if you don't have a big enough LiPo to fit in the battery tray, they provide a foam spacer that I was talking about earlier. Less movement of the LiPo battery is the best for it. Now this truck also comes with low voltage detection in the built-in XL5 receiver. Now I, on the other side, use a low voltage battery LiPo alarm. So it tells me how much, and doing this on camera is kind of hard. Basically I plug it in there, it makes a beep, and it displays right here how much battery I have. Up front here we have a fully waterproof steering servo. I'm unaware if it has metal gears inside, but it turns this truck very well without issue. Now that we're talking about the steering servo, I wanted to go ahead and mention a few problems that this truck has. Actually not very many problems, just about several I mentioned so far, but right in the center of the shot here is one problem. Upon impact of the front bumper and hard impacts to the front, it can cause these two yellow or white posts here to pop out of their top little grommet area there. And this always throws off the steering, and you think you have to readjust steering. Please make sure if this happens to you after you hit something very hard in the front that you check this and just pop them back in. Other than that, they haven't broke on me and they're still holding up strong. This concludes my video, the review of the two-wheel drive Traxxis Slash Ford Raptor Germain Auto Images truck.